About Takako Fujioka is the founder of the Neuromusic Lab at Stanford University, which is physically located in the Karma building. If you don't know Karma, it's a center for computer research in music and acoustics. Besides being the best building aesthetically at Stanford, they do very, very interesting research. All yours.
Thank you, Pierre. Thanks for coming. My name is Takako. I'm Japanese. I studied in Japan, and before becoming a brain scientist about music, I was double E major and worked in the tech industry, R&D kind of thing. But I switched to the academic research in the brain and the music neuroscience. Okay, so let's go. So this, I don't know, the data is not very. On the right top side, that's the Karma building. So it's in the campus, and it's the former president, university president mansion. We reside and then do the computer music, technology, audio engineering, all kinds of stuff. And I'm the new faculty 13 years ago. So I've been here, and I organize my research around brainwave machine. It's called the EEG, and motion capture. We can just do the 3D gesture recording, and we explore what the human performance and the psychological processes about music performance or music perception, cognition. Right, so there are happy students over here, and then over the years we do a lot of research about the human musicality. My research goal is that whatever students are interested in, and then we can find a mutual ground, then I will try to accommodate as much as possible, and we want to value the meaningful question for both science and music. And we value individuals' creativity and happiness in scientific discoveries. So, between these enterprise, I was avid freestyle jazz listener, so I obsessed during my college time. Also, I was trained in classical music, but of course, before double E major, obviously I failed to become classical piano concert touring pianist. But then I found like-minded people, hobby musicians, and then I joined the classical chamber music. Then I discovered brain science about the music, so I came to Canada, and then I was in a community orchestra. I studied jazz piano as well. So then I came to Stanford. Right. Today's topic, creative cognition. What is creative cognition? Improvisation and joint music making and empathy. So I'm going to go over what the cognitive scientists of cognitive neuroscience research know these days about these topics. And then at the end, I will introduce what few research projects from my lab. Okay? So what is creative cognition? Creative cognition, a set of cognitive processes that supports the generation of novel and useful ideas. Not only novel, not only useful. It's combination, right? Self-generated thoughts arise from internally focused mental activity, mind wandering, inspiration, something you're gonna wake up at the middle of the night and then you have like eureka moment, maybe. But self-generated thoughts can occur also from goal-directed processing and cognitive control to meet a specific task demand. So not only like relying on a random inspiration or all day 24/7 just mind wandering, it's not productive. You have to fit it into some kind of meaningful goal oriented activities. So you have to know the things, you have to know the rules, you have to know the framework, right? So you need some kind of like very systematic, analytic mindset to make that happen. And then we need some kind of skill set related to both domain general and domain specific skills. For example, if it's musical improvisation, you know how to play the instrument, how to know the jazz idiom if it's jazz, or there's the improvisational music that's not jazz, experimental music. Anyway, so then the domain general skills, it might be like the power of coming up with some kind of novel information, right? So, how cognitive scientists measure the divergent thinking ability? There are some tasks that the people came up with. One is to automate use task, asking a participant to generate different creative use of tinkan or some simple role. Yeah? I'll give you 2 minutes. Come up with something. Alright, so then you have the stopwatch and you have to generate 10, 20, 30 usage of this thing, you know? Or 2 instances task, which asks to generate many things that could be used for faster locomotion, or bendable, as many as possible in 1.5 minutes. Ooh, that's difficult. All right, so then number of ideas do you ended up generating, and the quality of each idea. That would be the measurement, you know? That will tell you how creative you are. See? Okay. So, next thing we're going to ask, are improvising musicians, are they more creative people than others? Well, I don't know. The people did research. Creativity of improvisation of jazz students, rated by experts, was related to practice hours and divergent thinking ability. So not only practicing a lot about the jazz music idioms and then skill set about your music instrument, divergent thinking in general matter. It's interesting, right? And even more interesting is that the jazz music students scored higher in alternate use tasks than classical and folk music group. Also accomplish more creative musical activities and achievement in the daily life. Ooh, it's getting really hairy because you don't know whether like improvisational skill or divergent thinking ability is the first, and then come to the jazz improvisation route, or because you're doing jazz improvisation and then it becomes your more trained. It's like almost a chicken and the egg, isn't it? So yeah, saga continues. Well, let's step back and then thinking about joint music making. So if we have to, you know, classical or jazz or whatever pop, folk music, we may have a band and then we have to coordinate with fellow musicians. What do we have to do? Psychologically, continuously pay attention to the other sound, of course. I cannot be off track, right? Anticipate their musical intentions, align ourselves with their emotional state. So how that translates to the music activities? We have to constantly listen to others and ourselves too. Also, sometimes coordinate, and coordinate means musically some features have to be really aligned with the others, right? So tempo dynamics, phrasing, and sonorities, and harmonies, and all that stuff. Okay, so that like kind of enormous task to achieve. But we do that, right? And then why are we doing this? To achieve shared musical goal. Yeah? Otherwise, yeah, we have a bunch of musicians doing something and then there's no music to achieve. So, yeah, it's kind of very important to think about that togetherness of the joint enterprise. So, where's the togetherness? And again, cognitive science researchers came up with the 3 different aspects of empathy. So how that's constructed? Experience sharing, empathic concern, and perspective taking. So the capacity to concern others and the perspective taking is like, okay, putting myself into this person's shoes. How do I feel? How do I think? You see? So these are different aspects of the empathy way of thinking. And then, of course, the 20, 30 years of psychological research show that both social context and genetic factors continue to influence how individuals operate in the social context and interactions with others, and then how that develops across lifestyle. So sometimes, you see small children and then they can totally disregard others' needs or wants, right? But then over time they develop, and then they can understand others' intentions, others' emotions, and then how they can compassionately operate in that social context. Another thing to say is the trait is your personality, and the empathetic tendencies that one person has might have certain levels and a consistency across the lifespan. But there is a state, it's dynamic type of fluctuation. So maybe you are, basically very empathetic person. When you are stressed out, you have no time. You have only 5 minutes to get into the office, and then you don't have time to help others on the street. You see? So how the social context and then the dynamic situation operates is a very complex thing. Anyway, so next question. Is empathy related to music, joint music? Yeah. Answer is yes in the studies. Children engaged with music, they show improved pro-social skills. They help each other. They say more empathetic notions with others, even after 9 or 10 months of music class compared to non-music class group. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Even one time joined singing and dancing, 4-year-old exhibited more spontaneous helping behaviors. Ooh. So group music may have powers to, open up people's mind, and then, hey, we're social beings, and then we can help each other. You see, it's kind of cool. College music student. College music student who are more extrovert, agreeable, conscientious, and open to experience. And that's a notion stable. So the neurotic measurement for the Big Five personality tended to score higher in empathy survey score. Okay. Students who participate in the informal ensemble activities like jazz band, pop band, these things. Frequently outscore those who are infrequently participating in these things, and non-classical music major students, jazz, popular music, scored higher in empathy personality score than classical music students. Very interesting. Well, I've been both, but yeah, it's really interesting how music education operates in advanced countries. Usually classical music is very, very competitive, and music college is not a great place if you are too competitive. Anyway, okay, so let's switch gears. What's happening in joint music? But joint music is a kind of specific case of synchronized movement, or intentionally organized movement, so to say. And then people are interested in a synchronized movement altogether, and then not only playing music, but just moving together in synchrony like this may increase your sense of affiliation. Okay, so this is one of my favorite study. they invited people, strangers, total strangers, into the silent disco, and then you got the headphones. There are 4 different music, all different tempo, and then after they enjoy the silent disco dancing, they get the survey. They have to sift through all the participants' photographs, and then say whether you remember this person's t-shirt's color and stuff. Guess what? They remember better on those people who happen to listen to the same music. Okay, so it looks like the social bonding is related to synchrony, and then of course it almost confirms the working songs culture across the globe. The people just have to work together in synchrony, both rowing, hunting, farming. The people work together and then synchrony, move synchrony. Anyway, so few minutes. Musical features and joint improvisation, professional jazz pianist. This study was very interesting because they recruited the pair of jazz pianists and put 1 people in 1 studio. So then connect the headphones and please play together. Okay? So they don't see each other. There's 1 pianist in 1 room, another pianist in another room. Okay? And then please collaborate. Unbeknownst to them, half of the time the other pianist was recording. So it's a karaoke situation. So you can go and improvise with what you hear, but that is not bidirectional interaction. So what happens is that the real duet, real actual people collaborating together, achieve greater temporal alignment and more consonant harmonies. But what happened? Okay, so but more importantly, third-party listeners, unbeknownst to them, we give them all the music they produced to listen to. And then, do you like this? Do you think it's great music? They scored higher for the real interactive pairs. Okay, so third-party listeners, they're not even jazz experts. They know the beauty of the interactive art. Okay? All right, so how might we improvise music? And we form some ideas, and then we play the plan, and then listen to see and touch and feel, and we go next cycle. In cognitive science, we call it perception action cycle. And the perception action cycle is the integration of action plan and outcome. You know this guy, right? So he's playing something, he's coming up with the idea, and an action plan is formed in the premotor cortex, and the auditory imagery is sent to the auditory cortex. It's called efferent copy. So before even start playing, the auditory imagery is in the auditory cortex. Now, action is executed, he hears the sound. Hearing the feedback is compared against the efferent copy. If feedback is different from expectation, brain has the surprise response. Oh, that's not what we expected. Okay, so that's called the surprise response or feedback related negativity, and then we can say that this kind of action and then see the outcome and then integrate and then go to the loop. This perceptual action cycle is really related to the beauty and the sense of agency. So I'll skip this. So what we did in the lab is joint improvisation. So we asked people to jointly do the piano duet, pianist 1 and pianist 2, and then alternate the phrases. Unbeknownst to them, we manipulate some sound, so the playback is a different pitch from what they play. So then the brain has a surprise response, right? So our question is, what happens if you even switch everything in the improvisation? Do you have the surprise response? It should. But nobody has done it, and pianists with improv experience could make up this improv melodies, and the surprise response during the improvisation is still there. So it's kind of discovery. We just published that paper, and interestingly, this response was related to the empathy score of each single pianist. Okay. And then the same data set, and during the playing, brain's algorithm, during the improvisation, shows internal focus attention for creative idea generation. So the playing score and the playing improv really diverges during the playing. So we can show that in the brain data. And during listening, alpha goes the other way. Why? Because their brain is paying attention to the partner's part. Okay, so almost there, playing in a joiner role, there are like pianist 1 starts, so we call it a starter. Pianist 2 takes up in the second phrase and so on, and joiner made up melodies that's related to the first phrase. Okay, so they are really exchanging the musical ideas. Make sense? So it's not jazz expert, professional pianists, but they can definitely extract the musical ideas and put that into the practice. And then joiner-related alpha difference. You serve as a joiner and you serve as a starter. That difference is related to empathy. Okay, so that was what I have to say today. Thank you for listening, and if you have any interest in a cover, my lab is in the downstairs, and we have free concerts and everything, so check it out. Thank you.